going to be multiplying a binomial times a binomial.
Didn't we do that yesterday?
Nope. Yesterday we did a monomial times polynomial.
Okay. Ow.
It would probably help if we sat in our desk correctly, which is why I say this all the time.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so what is a binomial? Two terms. So we're going to be multiplying something with two terms times something else with two terms. Go away from me, okay? So in this situation, okay, maybe we'll have something like 2x plus 5 times 3x plus 4. Now, one of the biggest issues with polynomials is how similar some of the situations can look by just one little tiny piece being different changes everything that we want to do with the problem. So prior to today, we had been looking at very similar problems, but they had that addition sign in between the parentheses. Okay, so if we see this addition sign in between the parentheses, what does that ask us to do? Combine the like terms. Okay, so today the difference is that now we don't see any operation in here. And when parentheses are just sitting next to each other with no operation in between, what operation is that then? Multiplication, right? So we're multiplying something with two terms times something else with two terms. Now, a long time ago, I guess you guys would say a really long time ago because I'm old, right? Maybe about 10 years before I was your age, someone came up with this idea. When the dinosaurs were around? Is that what you're telling me?
Something like that.
Something like that?
Foil.
Someone came up with this acronym of FOIL.
Oh, not another acronym.
Yeah. How does Mrs. McKinney feel about those acronyms? I tend to not like them, and this one is no different. What is an acronym?
It means something.
How does it mean something? Each letter means something, right? So PEMDAS is the acronym that you all love, right? Parentheses, exponents, multiplication. So you kind of don't even think order of operations anymore. Your brain just goes to PEMDAS. That acronym has stuck so well.
Does that have to be flipped?
Okay, so FOIL is an acronym that sort of did the same thing. It stuck so well, people sort of stopped talking about multiplying a binomial times a binomial, and it just gets called like FOIL. Now, each of those letters stand for something. I'm not going to teach you what they each stand for right now because acronyms have major flaws. FOIL has a huge one. All right, it is not the best way to multiply. Most people agree with that at this point, but it stuck so well that the word kind of just lingers. People use it like a verb. They'll be like, oh, FOIL these things. So because it is stuck so well, I don't want to not use that word at all, because I don't want you to get to future classes and your teacher use it and you be like, holy cow, put on the brakes, no idea what you're talking about. Okay, I don't want to lead to future confusion, but I also don't want to stress this acronym either. All right, so just sort of know if you hear your teacher saying that, maybe they're even older than I am, and they haven't adjusted to nowadays where we don't really stick to that wording anymore. So they really were around when the dinosaurs existed or something. Okay, and so they're still holding on to that word even though it's not probably the best way to do it. Okay? So when we want to multiply a binomial times a binomial, what we actually want to do is two things of what we did yesterday. So we are going to distribute, but because it's a binomial, we have to distribute twice. You alive?
Yeah.
He's like,
okay, so we're going to look at this 2x plus 5, and we are going to take the first term. Okay, so the first term in 2x plus 5 is the 2x. And you're kind of just, not kind of, you are. You're going to ignore this 5. Ignore it. Pretend it's not there. Okay, so what we have left is 2x times 3x plus 4. And doesn't that look exactly like what we did yesterday?
Yeah.
And it is. Do what?
Where does the 5 come from?
Where does what come from?
5.
5.
It's going to come into play in just a minute. Okay, but for the moment, we're going to ignore it.
So it'd be 2 times 3.
Okay, so we're going to start distributing. So 2x times 3x gives us what?
6x squared.
6x squared. Okay, then we're going to distribute to the next one. 2x times 4 gives us
8x.
8x. A positive 8x.
Oh, and then you.
Are we okay there?
Yeah, and then you do
Okay,
5.
and then we're just going to flip-flop. So now we're going to ignore the 2x. And we're going to focus on the positive 5.
So it'll be 5 times 3 and then.
So now we have 5
Which is
times 3x plus 4. Okay, so what is 5 times 3x?
15x.
15x. Now, there are lots of different ways that we can write all these pieces down. So I'm not saying that this is the only correct way to do it. I'm just saying that sometimes it helps to see where we have like terms. So is 15x a like term for anything else that we've already put down?
8x.
8x.
Can we just add those?
Okay, so I'm just going to put that for the time being, yes, but for the time being, I'm just going to put it underneath. Okay, and that's my brain going, oh, I'm going to be able to add them together. They're both x's. They both just,
Okay.
Did that make sense?
Yeah. I was confused.
Okay, now we're going to take this 5 and go to the 4. So 5 times 4 is
20.
20. Is that a like term for anything that we have up here?
No.
Nope. So I'm just putting it over here on the end.
Yeah. I already have that down. So it'd be 6x squared plus.
Okay, so
What?
once
I
we
do.
have those two done, I don't care. Once we have those two done, now we're going to go back to just combining like terms, which was our adding and subtracting polynomials. Okay, and we are already having them stacked up, which is the way we liked to add. So 6x squared doesn't have anything to go with it, so that's just a 6x squared.
23x, right?
An 8x plus a 15x will give us a 23x, right? When we add, that label just stays the same.
You just bring down that
And then we just bring down the 20.
20. I like those.
Oh.
And that's our answer.
That was awesome.
Right? So the key for this all is that you can distribute. We're just distributing multiple times.
Just a longer process.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at another one. Right, there's no operation sitting in between there, so that tells us that we're going to multiply. Okay, we have a binomial, which means 2, so we're going to distribute twice. Right, so what are we going to distribute first?
X.
The x. So we're going to ignore this. And what is x times 2x?
2x squared.
2x squared.
And then it'd be plus 1. No, 2. Because 1 times 1
Plus
is
1x.
What's x times 1?
1x.
1x, right? A positive 1x. Right, then we're going to switch to the second term. What's our second term on this one?
-7.
Excellent, -7. I didn't even start to stumble you. Okay, so now we're going to distribute a -7. So negative 7 times 2x is a
Negative 14.
negative 14x. Is that a like term to either of those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? It's a matching one here, so a negative 14x. Okay, and a negative 7 times 1 is a negative 7. So we're going to get like terms combined. So we'll bring this down. This will give us a 2x squared
Minus 13.
minus 13x
Minus 7.
minus 7. How do we feel about that one?
Good.
Working okay? Then we're just going to look at one more and we'll be done with notes here. X squared plus 3y times x minus 2y. Okay, so what are we going to distribute first, class? X squared. All right, so what is x squared times x?
2x to the
No,
third.
1x times.
Or 1x to the third.
X to the third, right? We could write the 1 in front, but we don't need to.
Then.
How about
Negative
this
2xy.
one?
Negative 2xy.
Negative 2x squared y.
Yeah.
Does it matter that one has an x and one has a y? Nope, they all just go together. What am I going to distribute next?
The 3y.
3y.
Okay, so positive 3y times x is
3y. 3y
3y.
squared.
Oh, 3y to the second.
3yx. I think we would just prefer to have written as 3xy, right? We tend to turn those into alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Is that a like term with 2x squared y? No, because this has an x squared.
Shouldn't she just bring it down?
So this doesn't have a matching place at all. So I'm just going to write it next to it. I don't have a matching column to put it underneath, so I'm just going to keep going.
So it'd be negative 6 plus, no, negative 6y. Yeah.
Negative 6y squared. Are any of those like terms? No. So on this one, there is nothing else that we can put together.
Solution?
Nope, that's just the answer.
Oh.
It's just longer.